I had some dino nuggets before filming this. They were actually really tasty. I am on a Final Fantasy hype right now, and I really enjoyed the Oko challenge for Final Fantasy X. So let's carry this on with a challenge that I started over a year ago. Can you beat Final Fantasy X only using magic? Let's go over the rules. In combat, I can only use attacks that consume MP. Other abilities and status moves such as Cheer, Steal, and Jinx are also fair game as they don't deal damage. Aeons are allowed to be used, but again, only using MP consuming abilities. And just to make it that much harder, no overdrives are allowed to be used in this run. I'll be writing the script as I go, so all of this has been written before I've even started the challenge. Everyone, leave a comment, guess if I can actually do this. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure this is actually even possible. So many ethers are going to have to be used, as well as just grinding to get enough MP to just deal enough damage, especially to endgame bosses. Pretty standard start to the game, with the exception that Tidus can't attack anything right now. Auron has access to Power Break at the start of the game, so we can deal damage without breaking the rules. Unfortunately, his MP bar is so low, and Power Break costs 8 points to use, so we may have to break the rules until we get to Lulu. I'm proven right about a minute later, as there is no way to get through Zanarkand with only magic, and we don't get any magic using attacks until unlocking Wakka and Lulu in Besaid. No choice but to carry on for now, unlock the Sphere Grid, and see what we can get done. The Expert Sphere Grid allows Tidus to get Dark Attack, and having a status move really early on is great. Unfortunately, Dark Attack and a boost to MP is 14 sphere levels away, and Piranhas don't give a lot of experience. It took me 3 hours of non-stop grinding at 4 times speed with increased encounters. Take away all the boosts that the PC port gives you, I would have been here for days. Using Riku gets her a little bit of experience, we beat one of Japan's mascots, and we're off to Besaid. Unfortunately, my recording software decided to freeze on this image but still kept recording audio. Check this out.
That looks like trouble.
It's fairly standard gameplay to get through the Besaid tutorials, but we are soon free to grind even more! I want to give Lulu, I meant to say Yuna, the level 1 magic, just so she isn't in a supporting role anymore, and I need to get some more stats on Wakka, mainly his MP. His bar is so low right now, he can only attack twice before being rendered useless. The Lord Ochu fight in Kilika Woods is a concern, but it's Japan's second mascot that I need to get through first. The fight with Sin is easy, as Yuna and Lulu have this covered. I can save Tidus and Wakka for the Sin Spawn fight. Same strategy as ever. Cheer spam, Dark Attack, and keep hitting the bastard before I run out of MP. After even more grinding and getting Lulu some level 2 magic, Oju goes down easy. An overkill, granting 2 HP spheres. I use one on Lulu's path for her and for Yuna to grab later, the second one on Auron's path, which I've decided to send Kimahri down. The Sin Spawn on the Kilika steps is also a breeze thanks to some strong magic from Lulu and Yuna. I think I know who the MVPs will end up being at the end of this run. The Destruction Treasure in Kilika Temple will be useful for Kimahri as it gives Tri-Ward, and after the temple I spend a bit more time grinding in Kilika Woods to get Tidus to learn Steal. This will be useful for later on, as Steal can one-shot Machina enemies without dealing any damage, thus sticking to the rules of the challenge. Yeah, this is me after having done all of those fights and everything. I didn't know only Riku can dismantle Machina with Steel. I've never taught it to anyone else in all my time playing this game, so all those additional sphere moves now mean square root of Jack. I make sure to get the Jack shot as I really want to win the Blitzball match and get that +4 strength sphere. I might even save the game before the match starts to go back and do the game till I win and get that sphere. With the limited attacks thanks to MP limitations, I need to maximise my damage potential. I'll make sure to pick up the HP and magic spheres at the Luca port before meeting Seymour, and the first Blitzball match where Yuna gets kidnapped in a crowded cafe with Tidus and Kimahri there, and no one notices. I bought a lightning halberd for Kimahri to help with some damage, but with Lulu's Thundara, we're actually sitting pretty here. The Albed Blitzball machine is quite easy, to be honest. I don't know if the reaction command for the crane will be breaking the rules, as it's not a quote-unquote attack, but it's dealing damage without using an actual attack command, so I decided not to use it. It goes easy enough, not really any risk with Haste, Thundara, and Kimahri having a Thunderstrike weapon. I lost the Blitzball match 5 times in a row, so I just decided to forget it and carry on. My patience had run out at this point. Auron comes back, and it's another simple round of Fiend fights. The PC port of this game loves to green out CG cutscenes, but this time, most of Yuna and Tidus are missing. Now I need to spend a lot more time grinding up Auron. Luckily, this road has some good enemies to fight, so I'm Gucci. The biggest problem I have is that all my melee fighters have such low HP in comparison to Yuna and Lulu, so they're limited in their usage for boss fights. It's still really early in the game though, but I think I really need to start planning ahead for fights like Seymour and Yunalesca now, so I spent so much time grinding in this spot. Getting MP is tricky business, because you end up kind of overpowered as a side effect, making a few fights kind of trivial. The Chocobo Eater is next up. This fight, you just need to avoid getting hit over the edge and you're golden. Luckily, we're ridiculously strong, so it's no issue. I kind of want some level 1 key spheres now, so I save right before the fight to try and knock it off the cliff to get them. I keep going runs where it just keeps pushing me back when it's close to the edge of the cliff, so I wasn't able to get the key spheres, but it does go down easy. I'll speed my way through the next segment and go back down the bottom part of the road to grab any items and do whatever fights I come across. Mushroom Rock is where I plan on doing a lot of setup. These fights are easy and grant more experience than earlier on. I get the Ga spells on Lulu, Auron learns Armor Break, and Tidus learns Slow. Mother fuck, what is going on with my footage? Why is it freezing but capturing sound? Since spawner Operation Mihen was a piece of piss, all my characters are OP right now, and the strength they have currently outweighs MP consumption. From now on, I am saving every goddamn save point. Any footage freezes, I'm going back and redoing it. Next we hit the Moonflow, where the best piece of voice acting ever blesses our ears once again.
Rides the shoe puff?
Machina underwater fight is also a breeze, and then we unlock Riku. While I was grinding up Riku to be potentially another buffer or debuffer for the party, I decided I only really need to be focusing on 3 characters. The 3 that will carry me to the end. I have spent so much time grinding everybody, I could have progressed so much further by this point. So, looking at future battles, and with the experience from all the times that I've played this game, I decided on my final 3. First up, Tidus. Speedy, buffs and debuffs, and I can branch him onto Auron's grid if needed later on. Speaking of whom, number 2 is Auron. Tanky, strong, and all-around beast. My main physical damage outputter. Third is Lulu. I've already spent a lot of time grinding her up, and she's coming to the end of her own sphere grid at this point anyway. I'll top up everyone else to make sure they're sufficient as needed, but I think I'm good with these 3. I think it's time to start speeding through some areas with the main goal of getting to the Calmlands. If I'm overkilling bosses in 2 hits and nearing the end of sphere grids at Guado-Salam, I need to get to harder enemies. So, we finish in Guado-Salam, speed through the Thunder Plains, beat the Spheromorph in Macalania Woods, crush the Albed Machina, and fight Seymour. Since his Guado companions cast Protect and Shell, I think this will be a great test of how strong we really are. The Guados go down with a power attack from Auron and a fire Arga from Lulu. One delay attack from Tidus has Seymour summon Anima. Another power attack and fire Arga combo puts Anima in range of a KO from Tidus, before Lulu goes down to an insta-kill Pain, and a second delay attack takes down Anima. I revive Lulu before Seymour doubles into her with a multi-Thundara, taking her out again. I don't have time to revive her again, so one armor break from Auron and a dark attack from Tidus finishes off Seymour. Lulu is definitely a glass cannon, can deal a lot of damage but can't take much. While I'm looking over the sphere grid, there's an ability I would very much like to get for Lulu, and it's Holy. It may be locked behind a level 4 key sphere, but she's nearly at the end of her grid anyway. I can hop onto Yuna's grid easily with a level 4 key sphere at home on Beacon Out Island, and there's another one to unlock the actual ability on Mount Gagazet. The Wendigo fight goes as follows. Haste go with Tidus, while a Power Break and Firer take out both Guado. I forget they cast Protect and Shell as they go down, so the Wendigo is now more tanky for the rest of the fight. I tried casting Bio, but it's immune to poison, so that was a waste of a turn, but Tidus fires off a Dark Attack. Auron connects with an Armor Break, and Tidus uses another Dark Attack. I tried Death, but that turns out to be another immunity, but a third Dark Attack from Tidus makes the Wendigo put up its hands. A Water Gun from Lulu puts the Wendigo in range of a final Dark Attack, and that gets the KO. Sweet. I speed through the desert on Beacon Out Island, fight through home, and board the airship to head to Pavel, picking up the level 4 key sphere for Holy as I mentioned earlier. Evray time. I start with a Haste Arga, and since all elements are halved on Evray, I use Focus with Lulu to raise magic defense. An Armor Break from Auron connects, and I try Bio, but Evray is immune. A Dark Attack from Tidus puts Blind onto the Worm, and a Quad 9 Power Break from Auron is big. A Fire Arga from Lulu puts Evray in range for Tidus to get the overkill with another Dark Attack. With 2 Black Magic Spheres from Evray and 2 I got from an earlier boss, I can put the Gas spells onto Lulu, I meant to say Yuna, just in case I need to use her for later, and I fight up the stairs in Pavel for her to escape Seymour. Real quick, what's going on with Auron's clothes here? After the Cloister of the Trials, the party gets split into 2 and it's time for the Via Purifico, and time to face Isaru's Aeons. He sends in Ifrit and I send Valafor. I get 2 blizzards before he fires back with a Hellfire. Valifor, however, tanks the overdrive, and another 2 blizzards get the KO. Next is Isaru's own Valifor, and I send in the newly acquired Bahamut. I managed to light them up with 2 Fire Argas before getting hit in return, but Bahamut is a beast. A 3rd Fire Arga takes the 2nd KO. Now it's Isaru's own Bahamut, and I send in Shiva. This may have been a mistake as she could go down to some strong magic, but Bahamut actually never attacks. 5 Blazzaras later, and the win's mine. Next up, Evre Altana. No Phoenix down strats for this battle. I start as usual with a Haystaga and block with Riku. She's a bit useless in this fight since she can't do any damage by using MP. I try sleep attack with Waka, but Evre's immune, and Tidus gets hit with a Stone Gaze. Not good. I provoke with Riku and keep attacking with Waka, but he goes down and I need to use a Phoenix down just to bring him back. A Photon Spray brings both Riku and Waka down to low health, but some quick healing allows us to tank another Photon Spray. One last attack from Waka gets the overkill, and we just about survive. Now the party's reunited and ready to take on Seymour. After grinding a lot more, again, I can break into Yuna's Sphere Grid to get Holy with Lulu, I break into Waka's Sphere Grid with Auron, and trek back to get Zombie Attack. I actually spent a lot of time grinding here, so even Tidus got to the end of his grid and was able to jump onto Auron's. From here, I won't be covering any more grinding segments unless I lose a fight, like, really badly. The fight with Seymour starts with Kamari and Yuna in the party, so a Haystaga would be pretty useless. I can't remember what Seymour's immune to, so I start with a Dark Attack and sub in Auron with an Armor Break. Seymour casts Protect, so I sub in Lulu and fire off a Dispel. Tidus uses another Dark Attack and Lulu tanks a Flare. My characters are actually pretty buff here, so one more Dark Attack from Tidus finishes Seymour and gets another Overkill. I think my next biggest challenge will either be Seymour on Mount Gagazet or Lady Yunalesca. A bit of story happens and now it's time for Defender X. Trademarked Haystaga, and I cast Reflect on Lulu as this boss will occasionally counter with Sloga, so I hope it will bounce right back. Auron fires an Armor Break and Lulu gets a second Reflect onto him. I use Mental Break with Tidus and get hit by a Blast Punch. Auron connects with Power Break, Lulu fires off 2 Holy Spells, and Auron gets another Power Break off. The defender finally counters with Sloga, but it doesn't bounce back. It doesn't matter though, as it's too little too late. Tidus fires another Dark Attack to add another Overkill to the list. Yenki and Buran are next. There was actually a lot of back and forth with this. Spells, getting bulldozed, Dark Attacks, but we eventually take them both down. It's amazing how this fight can be drawn out that much, purely just from how they protect each other. You really need for one of them to bulldoze right into you to begin with, so you can actually deal some real damage. Alright bitch, bring it on. Seymour Flux is probably the most infamous fight in Final Fantasy X. Haystaga start, and I fire off a Holy and a Zombie attack. Seymour casts Protect, and lances Auron, applying the zombie status. I use a Holy Water and slap Seymour with a Dark Attack and an Armor Break. Seymour casts Reflect, but that's an easy dispel from Lulu, getting rid of both Reflect and his earlier Protect. A second Dark Attack and another Holy connects while Seymour casts Flare on himself. He then prepares his Annihilation attack, but one Power Break from Auron brings Seymour Flux to an end on Mount Gagazet. I honestly thought that would be a lot harder. And all that's really left is the endgame boss rush, starting with the Sanctuary Guardian. Fight starts with Haystaga from Tidus, Bio from Lulu, and a Magic Break from Auron. The party gets hit with a Photon Wings, and Auron and Lulu get blinded and confused. Luckily I have remedies, so it's an easy fix. An Armor Break from Tidus, and a double cast Fire Arga brings the big beast down. Next fight is the B-movie. Spectral Keeper. Haystaga to start as usual, followed by a double Fire Arga from Lulu, dealing big damage. Keeper counters with a sweep attack, only hitting Auron. We follow up with a quad 9 Armor Break, and the Keeper counters with another sweep, with Lulu evading the second attack. Lulu fires a double cast quad 9 Fire Arga before avoiding a third attack, and Auron finishes with a Power Break. Light work. I didn't even have to worry about going berserk all the mines.
Now, this is it. Now is the time to choose. Die and be free of pain, or live and fight your sorrow. Now is the time to shape your stories. Your fate is in your hands.
Lady Yunalesca. A 3-stage fight where you have to balance healing, the zombie status, and dealing damage. I think this is probably the fight I was worried about most. Haste from Tidus, followed by a double Fire Aga. We deal good damage, but Lulu gets silenced in return. An armor break from Auron knocks Yunalesca into phase 2. She starts with Hellbiter, dealing low damage, but applying the zombie status to the party. I use an echo screen to get rid of Lulu's silence, and mental break with Tidus. I get off another double Fire Aga, and Auron connects with a magic break, and Lulu gets hit with Cura, dealing close to a third of her overall health. Tidus using Dark Attack sends Yunalesca into phase 3, where she uses Megadeath, but due to the party's zombie status, this does nothing. Double Fire Aga, mental break, Dark Attack, double Fire Aga, and another Dark Attack brings Yunalesca to just 6 HP before dealing big damage to Auron with a Curaga. One last Fire Aga from Lulu takes Yunalesca out, giving us another clean victory. After beating Yunalesca, I decided to spend some time preparing for the endgame. I give Lulu, Auron and Tidus new weapons and armor, and giving first strike and counter attack to Tidus. I didn't know if this again would be breaking the rule of only dealing damage using MP, so I left it in the back just in case I was getting my ass handed to me later on. I also spent a lot of time stealing Petrify grenades so I could give everyone stoneproof on their new armor, and I put Silence Ward on Lulu as well just to be safe. Okay, Sin fights. Let's get these out the way very quickly. Both Finns went down in a very similar fashion. The ship takes forever to move, so Auron is useless from the get-go, and after a Haste Aga, Tidus is kind of in the same boat. So both get taken out by Lulu using double Fire Agas, and Auron and Tidus sit in the back. Next is another Sin spawn with a fire weakness, so it's an easy dub. I Dark Attack with Tidus, forgetting that my current weapon has Water Strike on it, but a double Fire Aga and a Power Break fixes my blunder. Now we slap Sin's clip. First is Haste Aga, while the core gathers power. A double Fire Aga hits while Sin uses a move that does absolutely nothing. Auron connects with an armor break and the core fires back with some weak blizzards. One more Fire Aga takes out the core. Now to face Sin directly. If his overgauge fills, we lose the fight. Hastiger and double Fire Aga to kick things off as usual. Sin's out of range, so I keep guarding with Auron and Tidus, while Lulu lays the smacketh of downs. After a few turns, Sin finally gets within striking distance of the lads, so now we can deal some real damage. Quick hit, double Fire Aga, and an armor break brings Sin to just over 20k of health. A Dark Attack and a final double Fire Aga ends the fight. Sin swallows us, and it's time for the final fight with Seymour. The fight changes with the elemental wheel behind him, so I really need to pay attention to that with my double casts. Hastiger, double Blizzaga, and an armor break that misses to begin with. Seymour fires off 4 Fire Agas in return, dealing a decent amount of damage to the party. We follow up with another double Blizzaga, a Dark Attack, and an armor break that actually hits this time. A third double Blizzaga brings Seymour in range to be taken out by Tidus with a mental break. Now only one challenge left. Braska's final Aeon.
I promise this will be quick. Hit me with all you got, Dad.
The fight starts with Yuna, so no point in hasting the party right now. I talk to Jecht with Tidus and an armor break with Auron. I need to subdue these pillars, so I sub out Yuna for Lulu and double cast Fire Aga. Both pillars stop and I talk with Tidus again to decrease power and reset Jecht's overdrive meter. A double Fire Aga into Jecht deals big damage, and I finally get a haste onto the party. A power break and another double Fire Aga puts Jecht in range for Tidus to knock him into phase 2 with a mental break. I get another armor break onto Jecht and use Tidus to talk again, but forget that this doesn't work in Jecht's second phase. The left pillar starts moving, but I don't target it yet. I do another Fire Aga into Jecht, waiting for the right pillar to move to take them out at once. Jecht counters with a sweep attack that the boys tank, and Lulu evades. At this point, the left pillar is due for an action, so I use another double cast to take the pillar out and deal more damage to Jecht. Tidus connects with a delay attack, and the right pillar starts moving. Auron hits Jecht with a zombie attack, and Jecht is susceptible to zombie. Since when? I try casting Full Life with Lulu, but Jecht is immune. It was worth a shot. Tidus hits with Dark Attack, Jecht counters with another sweeper attack that Lulu evades again. MVP! Since Zombie's up, I'm not worried about the pillars healing, so I can go all in with the damage. Double Fire Aga, Dark Attack, Power Break. The right pillar curses Auron, but it doesn't matter. Jecht is taken down by a final double Fire Aga from Lulu, and just in time as his overdrive meter filled at that point. Now it's pretty much over. We can't die from this point. We take all the Aeons out in turn. Valifor, Ifrit, Ixion, Shiva, Bahamut. And finally finish Yu Yevon with a zombie attack and a full life from Lulu, bringing the run to an end and proving you can indeed beat Final Fantasy X only using magic. I procrastinated so much with this challenge. I started this over a year ago, and it was always that video that, you know, I'll get back to and I'll finish it one day. There was a time when this was meant to be the first video back on TSM Plays, but we did it. We won. Another Final Fantasy challenge in the bag. I won't be doing another Final Fantasy challenge for a little bit, and there's a load of stuff that'll be coming up this year anyway. But I think the next run with Final Fantasy I'll do will probably be related to Final Fantasy VII. I'm curious if you can beat the whole thing using limits, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. You know all of that. I've been TSM. Peace out.